Three things happen at once, and then you know it's time.
Exactly.
I've got the little red light that says it is. Okay.
The other
Can
red,
you hear me now?
the other red light.
The other red light. Not by the number, but by the little voice figure. Should we give it a countdown?
Sure, go
No,
ahead, since
I'm
you
not
can see
gonna
it.
do that.
Okay. There it is. Call to order. The meeting of the Historic Preservation Board, Denison, Texas, will come to order. It is Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Present are members Linda Anderson, Kurt Chakowski, and Steve Riley, and Kirsten Solomon. We have the presence of a quorum. Do we have any requests to speak cards? None? Okay, with that, we'll move on to items of individual consideration. A, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on approving the minutes from the meeting held on June 6, 2023. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the minutes for June 6, 2023.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. Approved?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. B, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on approving the minutes from the meeting held on June 20th, 2023. Discussion, anyone? Okay, motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of the minutes.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Linda Anderson, second by Kurt Chakowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're going to skip D and C and D and move on down to E. Receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on the addition of an awning, an additional entrance, and request to paint the exterior of the building located at 231 West Main.
Okay, so the, can you forward it, please? Okay. There is some paint on there, and they would like to put an awning on it and then create, I think, 2 openings in the existing glass for the new businesses. It'll be a suite of businesses. And so they have proposed that, and they are here to speak on the matter.
My name is John Day. I live at 110 East Louisiana Street, McKinney, Texas. We are proposing to paint the exterior of this building, add the awnings, and add 2 exterior doors. As you all know, that's the old Chase Bank building. We have gutted the first floor. We have 3 new tenants moving in. I have to open up more doors so they can get in. The doors will be into the storefront and will match the existing storefront. Once it's done, I don't think you'll notice the difference. I've been told ever since I came here that that was an ugly building and that I needed to do something about it. So that's what I'm proposing to do about it. And I ask for your approval.
I understand the paint color is the same as 34 Chop House?
Exact same color, yes, sir. This color here, which is country whitewash, which is from your list of approved colors.
One thing I would note for the board that it is interesting to note that it is not from the designated historical era, but it is approaching 2026 when it will be quote-unquote historic. And so this would be a example of the building style of that period, even if it's not our significant historical time we're looking at.
I would like to also point out that we've had a lot of discussion about a lot of white buildings in the area, and I'd like to point out that 331 is not as much white as that one would be. I mean, it's almost more like trim on Chalk House.
And is that a concern?
Well, for me personally,
A
it's
lot of white?
A lot of white. The awnings will help. I love the awning colors. Ms. Anderson, any thought? Thank you for once, for once again. Thank you, Mr. Day, for once again taking on an heroic effort. Absolutely.
I guess I'm gonna be the only person that doesn't think the building's really that ugly. I mean, I think there's a lot of coolness to it. That just adds a lot.
Yeah.
And it is stark, and it will
Yeah.
be more stark, brutalist, if you will, when it's all white. I wouldn't be opposed to a white that was perhaps somewhere between what we're looking at here and what we're looking at over there, which would soften it a good bit. But I don't know that would respond to the concerns that you have in some of it. Let's move.
Are we ready to move?
I think so.
Discussion over,
I'll make
okay.
a motion, we accept the recommendation as written.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Steve Riley and a second by Linda Anderson. All,
Just discussion to be sure that I understand this. We're talking about the awning, the additional entrances, and the paint.
And the paint,
Yes.
all three.
all three. Okay. Make,
So there's a motion.
there's motion? There's a motion.
Ready to vote.
Okay.
Approve. Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Okay, next on the agenda. Item F, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on the restoration of 121 South Burnett Avenue.
This would be the Hotel Denison, and yes, I know. Hold your applause, please. So they are proposing just a total restoration, and some of the, I guess, most of the demo has already occurred, and so they've got their National Park Service approvals and included it in the package. And so I think it's appropriate now that I just let them come. And you want to introduce yourself and state your name and address? Thank you.
How's it going? I'm Spencer Morrison. I'm at 2909 Flower Mound, Garden Ridge, Flower Mound, Texas. As Donna stated, this is the presentation for the, complete restoration of the hotel. As you know, we've spent a long time working on this, and a lot of thoughts gone into kind of the intent here. As she also stated, we've taken this through the Federal Parks Department and gotten their Part 2 approval. I believe that was included in the package. The vast majority of the exterior is going to remain as it was to the best of our ability and knowledge. I think that's representative with what's been presented in this package. The biggest change, biggest addition is going to be to the rear and service entry of the building, where the new wall will be constructed. We'll have our transformer location, our trash and load and drop off area, and then the new pool area that's all walled in. That is the only new, well, let me take that back. That is one of two actual new structures to the building. The second is that the elevator doghouse will increase by roughly 6 feet at the top so that the elevator can go all the way to the roof for the pedestrian deck that is intended to be on the roof. You'll notice in one of the conditional approval items from the Parks Department is that we'll need to do additional photos and renderings of that rooftop deck as seen from the ground level. We've set up some things, taken some photos. They wanted a little bit more on that. We'll continue to acquiesce to their requests on that, as I assume you guys care about that as well. Paint colors, I think are all, in this document. Vast majority of the new stuff is going, and no judgment, but this is definitely putting a different tint on those paint colors than we think. And if you guys don't have it printed out, I'm happy to provide you with this here. I've got a few more as well, but I think that's a little bit more representative of the actual paint colors that we intend to use. As you know, they can be deceptive on the computer screen. So, but the vast majority of anything new, again, is going to be that that new rear wall. All the storefronts along Burnett are going to be replaced and redone in as close to the exact same fashion as they exist today. Obviously, 2 of them do not exist. They will be nearly mimicked as the 2 next door. I can continue for a while. There's a lot of stuff. I think it's probably best if I just let you guys kind of review and ask questions if you have any.
Well, I think it's absolutely outstanding. And I know you've had to do a whole lot of work to get the tax credits and therefore have to be in compliance with the National Park Service and for the Texas Historical Commission.
Yes, sir.
And so as long as those 5 things that they list, the windows, the sight lines, the elevator, the lighting, the storefronts, the ceilings are all complied with, which I'm sure you will in order to get the tax credit.
Absolutely. Our tax credits are beholden to it, and so.
I have absolutely no problems. And I think what you're going to do in that back alley there for the pool and reconstruct that wall, I think is going to really make that back look nice.
And just to clarify, there's a portion of that rubble wall, as you guys know, if you've seen the property, that's fallen down right there in what we intend to be our open courtyard. That rubble wall is going to be very difficult to replace in like kind. We're going to do some combination of replacing that rubble wall and meshing it with the new wall that will then be the pool enclosure. We've talked to a couple of different professionals. We're not 100% sure how those 2 things are going to kind of end up interconnecting at that corner there, so y'all are aware.
I can hardly wait to have a meeting in that meeting room, or have a dinner Friday night.
Congratulations to the whole operation for bringing it this far.
Absolutely, thank you. We're hopeful to submit permits here this week as well. I talked to Kurt last week, and actually, the only reason they weren't in on Friday is because I had to redo my registration on the MyGov website, so they'll hopefully be submitted here soon.
What do you think your most difficult part of this is going to be?
From a construction standpoint?
Start with there, then we're going to.
The couple things that from dealing with conversations with subcontractors and with the GC that we're working with on this, the plaster inside is going to be extremely difficult. Basically, nobody does lime plaster like that anymore. So to recreate that in a cost-effective manner is going to be very difficult. Additionally, the stained glass windows, for the same reason, right? There's just a very select few folks who actually work on those things and handle that, to the level of expertise that we're hoping for. Sorry,
I was going through the deal. If I remember right, you had to have the ceilings and the corridors had to be lime plastered, and I remember what exactly it said, but I remember it talked about it.
Yeah, the first floor is almost literally intended to be like kind from the state and federal perspective. They want it to be as matched as possible. And so if you walk into the building now and you look up, you'll see all of the cornices and crown molding. All that's been done in that old style wire mesh, essentially like scalpeled on lime plaster. And that's kind of what I'm talking about more than anything. The flat wall plaster is not nearly as complicated, right, as it is to do all the crown molding in the first floor. We will be required to meet the standard that they've set forth on the corridors in the building as well. And then I maybe eating my words here. I think the 6th floor is the one that will need to be kept specifically as it is today because it was the one that wasn't demoed. The remainder will be slightly different than that 6th floor, but the corridors will all have to meet the federal code as well, which is to, like you said, plaster the same sort of fixtures, the inset ceilings, all of those things.
The 4 units out front, are you saying that they will be demoed and
No, so there's the 2 existing, and then there's the 2 that don't exist, right? And so they're all going to be as they are represented in the renderings.
Okay.
The 2 that exist today will not be torn down,
Okay.
though there may be sections of them there where the wood is not reusable, right? So they're all this, old painted wood, and as you know, we can get into that and begin to sand down or remove some of the door frame, and things just kind of start disintegrating in your hands. And at that point, we would replace with a similar type material, and paint to match. It would be a restoration effort would be the best way to say it, I think.
Okay, and tell us about the awning, because I know there's pieces missing of it. How will you reconstruct that? And
Yeah, the awning is going to be, again, and unfortunately, I don't have perfect answers for you on all these things as there's so many moving parts. The best I can tell you on the awning is that we're going to do the best we can to keep it the exact same way that it looks today, but finished and new. We have no intention of taking it down or taking it off entirely. It'll be, pieces and panels coming off of it, and again, replacing like kind with like kind material. And that's really, as of today, without the subcontractor here and the general contractor here telling you specifically how they intend to remove that sheet metal. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry.
I don't know that much about it, but I wondered about a 3D, how they replicate.
Mm.
I didn't know if that was a good candidate for that or not. To be
Yeah,
able to-
I think that it's made mostly out of sheet metal, and it's formed and pressed and hammered, which again, if that's to be reconstructed, we would like to do it
Yeah.
in
Okay.
the same manner. Now, that's again, not to say, I'm not the expert, I won't be the one doing it, and then everyone is glad that that's not the case.
Well, the good news is there's lots of photographics.
That's right, and we've presented a few of them in the package as well that do a good job of showing, kind
Yeah,
of.
Mr. Hander really documented it well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Any questions, more, or discussion?
Nick?
All right.
What do we do to make this thing move forward?
I know. Thank you.
If there's no more discussion,
Do I have
You-
anything, Linda?
I make a motion to approve the restoration of 121 South Burnett Avenue.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I have a motion by Kurt Chakowski to approve and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. Thank you. G, item G, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on the proposal to affix historical markers to buildings located within the Commercial Historic Overlay District.
So I would defer to Mr. Chakowski on this and let him describe it if he would.
Certainly. What you have in your packet is essentially a discussion that started in the back of the vehicle as we were coming back from Grapevine. And when we were on a walking tour of that historic city, and they've done a very good job restoring and keeping their historic flavor of their downtown, they had signs affixed to some of the buildings there, talked about the history of that building. And we were wondering if that, we were opining that might be a good idea here. Lo and behold, in talking with a council member, Mr. Hander, this is not the first time this has been tried. So in your packet, you also have the documents that he was, now, just by way of background, he used to be in charge of the Grayson County Historic marker program. And so the documents in there are very, very much like the county's program. I can say that because I am now the county historic marker. I'm not proposing that this be the way that we go, and I'm not sure today if we're going to be able to decide that. But what I would propose is that we either agree to the idea or say this is not an idea we want to take on, and if it is an idea we want to take on, can a board form a subcommittee or a subboard to generate ideas and come back? I'm looking over to our clerk. Can a board create a subcommittee or a subboard? Then I guess I would say have a subboard to generate ideas and bring things back about what material would be, how we would put it. Would we offer it to the owners or the business owner in the building? And then do we put it on the building? Do we put it in front? Just like the markers down in the 100 block that are there for, talks about Sully Sullivan, and talks about Major Jewel Butler, talks about the other historic things. So have this subboard or subcommittee come back and report, and then have a better discussion rather than just trying to make the sausage here today.
Would the buildings already have to meet the National Register guidelines?
That would be
or-
something that I would
Okay.
have this
Okay.
subboard come back and say.
Okay.
Have we talked to any of the building owners to see what their temperature is on this?
We have not. I know in talking to Mr. Hander, he did, and he got an inverse curve, either very for it or very against it. And I think that those against it may have been misconstrued because of, if you notice Mr. Hander's in there, that the building owner has to apply for it, then has to pay a fee and all that other kind of stuff. That is not what I would propose.
Nor would I. And point of information in Grapevine, the buildings that are designated are essentially all of them, whether they're on the register or not.
Oh.
And that adds, I think, another dimension of the history of that town. And I also agree that what we have here is too complex to get the kind of participation we would seek. And also that clearly for us, it's at the genesis. We're not inventing it, though. And I think it's an extremely worthwhile thing to do. I have some ideas about how it could be funded, and I'd like to explore those as well. So I would want there to be a subcommittee of some sort, and if it's not inappropriate for two members of this board to serve, I would like to serve with you on that.
A committee of the whole or a subcommittee, it does not matter to me. But rather than make sausage here today.
Right. So at this point, all we need to do then, Ms. Dow, is agree amongst ourselves that we want to proceed.
Or do we have to make a motion to establish a board or a committee of the whole?
Consensus on the agenda, yeah. All right.
You need to form that motion.
Carefully.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking, something along that, I would propose, make a motion that the Historic Preservation Board form a subboard or subcommittee, whatever the right word is, to explore the idea of historic building markers in the historic overlay of the city of Denison.
It sounds like a good motion. Is that a motion?
So sharpshoot that.
He's trying to formulate it. We're working on that. We got.
So I'm saying, so let's sharpshoot that.
To explore the historic building markers in the.
So I'm trying to limit the area.
Within the overlay.
Yes. And we can further limit that if you want to just Main Street, but there might be others who might want to
Yeah.
participate.
Yeah, because is Hotel Denison already?
Well, you've actually, on your
It's on
summary,
Burnett, yeah.
on your summary, you've already got a really good proposal. The proposal is to explore the possibility of fixing historic markers to buildings located within the Denison city's designated commercial historic overlay. So you've already got. your,
Gosh, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So there's no reason, we don't need to think that up from the beginning. I'd make a motion that we proceed to, well, I think we have to do the committee first, don't we?
Yes, I think we have to establish something that's going to explore this.
Or, yeah, I think we're gonna have to have two deals. One, are we gonna further it, and second, to establish the committee.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to continue for a proposal to explore the possibility of affixing historic markers to buildings located within the Denison City's designated commercial historic overlay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right,
All right.
got a motion by Steve Rowley and a second by Kurt Chakowski, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion
Then
carries.
we need to make a decision to decide to have a committee to work on
Committee or subcommittee,
the
yeah.
criteria, and the manner and method.
Oh, I'm not sure I'd want to limit ourselves here to explore
Explore.
what this is going to entail,
Okay.
all aspects of what it will entail. Now, as committee of the whole, or as a couple of us that bring it back?
I don't think I don't think we even need a whole committee. I think we can't just. Two of you, yeah.
Representatives or.
Of
Sure,
this
we
board,
can't
but
be
that does
we
not
can't be a quorum.
preclude-
No, we can't be a quorum.
That does not preclude the addition of others. Do we at this point have to determine the size or whom? Can the motion be structured such that the two of us commit to it or whatever, but with the,
I was going to say, it's not a standing committee, so
No.
it's just for this intention only, so you don't have to put any of those terms or parameters.
so we can pull people in and out as we
It's an
chose or
advi- it's
needed.
an
Work-
advisory committee that reports to the.
Work with the staff,
Okay.
call in other outside experts, other people's citizen opinions,
Perfect.
okay?
An advisory committee or, what is there's an official term for it, an advisory committee's fine, yeah.
Advisory committee to the Historic
Exploratory.
Preservation Board.
Exploratory.
Thank you, ad hoc, yeah.
An ad hoc committee to the Historic Preservation Board focused on determining the criteria and process to establish historic markers on buildings within the historic district overlay. Did you get all that?
It will,
Yeah,
it will
she's got
happen.
replay over there.
The magic words will come.
Hence, turn the microphones on. So therefore, I would make that motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson, all,
Aye.
okay, motion carries.
Now, do you have to determine who's on that board?
Oh.
Or just assume that it's going to be Linda and I?
That's exactly the
Okay.
road I was going down.
Yeah.
I will take that on with
The
Linda.
people
Right,
that,
and then, as I understand it, we can make it
Yes.
come and go with whomever.
We just
whenever-
can't.
whenever we
We
choose.
just can't do it with any of these two.
Yeah, y'all, whenever you see us, don't look at us.
All right.
All right, we're
Good.
going to move on to.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to move on to item H, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on the request to install a new railing system on the roof and an exterior door at 427 West Main.
So you recently heard this case, and so he's come back with more details. The doors and the railing for the roof. And so the applicant's representative is here, and I would invite him to speak on it.
Kevin Hinkins, 3500 South Fannin Road. Thank you for having me. This is an exact replica of the railing across the street at 309 West Main. Only difference is the rooftop railing would be 6 inches higher per building code. And then this one, that it'd be the same as that rear railing actually on the right-hand side. And then if you want to go to the door, It won't be that frosted glass that you see. There'd just be clear glass in the unit. But that's the exact door that the owners would like.
Would it have panes like that?
Well, this particular one, that's a simulated divided glass, so there's one glass in there, but the grid is outside of it to make it
But it would
appear,
still have the Mullins in there.
yeah, make it appear like there's individual panes. So, and that's to tie into I don't know if you have any reference to the original elevations that we submitted, but that's to tie into those first and second floor windows also.
Didn't you have a single door in the first,
First
the
rendering, yeah.
first agenda, or you had? a
Yes,
single door
ma'am.
and you opted to
Yes,
go with
ma'am.
the double? I like that.
And then I had a question about the railway go all around the exterior of the building.
Yes, well, on three sides. So one side, you have the wall to the Studebaker Museum that's like 6 feet from the surface of the deck. And then the south and west, and then the north will have the stair railing and the balcony railing where the stairs come up. So you get a pretty good picture of the staircase. There's an engineering note that says they're on hold. That's the staircase, but the supports below, we were gonna make sure they jive with the kitchen plans, and there's not just a column in the middle of so what's on hold is the legs under the staircase. This is a good indication of the staircase that we want.
And it would be back away from the edge a little bit, obviously.
Say that again.
The railing would be back away from the front edge.
Yes, you get a very small view of the parapet wall and the railing, in relation to each other. And it would be, so the railing's actually sitting on part of on this structural beam, which is 8 inches wide. And so you'd be inside that parapet wall and then in the center of that 8-inch structural beam.
I just don't think the sight lines would be a big deal.
So I know that, you had questions for not this part, but the permitting part.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all have anything requirements or anything like that for this?
There just doesn't need to be any work started before permits issued, of course, so it needs to go through the process before you can start doing anything at all, even doing.
Okay,
That means the front and the back.
okay. So when we left here, we had a question of the transom windows, and we were gonna revisit that. That was I had to kind of crack into the front of that so
There's nothing there.
The-
There's no,
there is no window. They've been removed, so.
Okay.
Anyway.
So do you plan to recreate a similar look then?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, just with modern windows.
Is that, can we put that on the approval, the transom windows, what we know now, even though it's not?
even though it's not on the agenda, since it was from last time, it's answering the question from last time.
So the transom windows were in question, we didn't know what he was gonna find when he unveiled the structure, and so now he knows, but.
Yeah, we can revisit it.
I would prefer to state that, out.
Just a separate part of the,
Okay, just make sure I'm ready. You're gonna just rebuild, put new windows up there where they'll, okay.
Exactly.
All right.
If I may, prior to doing that work, we have to have your permits in.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
issue anything to you unless that work is done appropriately.
Yes, ma'am.
Trying to think what we'll need there.
The mobile home skirting?
You're going to keep these, you're just gonna replace the glass in those upper windows, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think that's all the clarifications I have.
Yeah, from the
So everybody's completely clear with everybody's situation, right? Permitting, what we're gonna offer, so we don't have any more.
Very familiar.
Okay, good deal.
So this is just a historic preservation approval that he can then get to the permits, so they can then start the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you make a motion, include the transom windows.
You bet I will.
Okay. And the timeliness of obtaining permits.
That part I won't put in the motion, though, but if there is no other discussion, then I would make a motion to approve the addition of a railing on the roof of 427 West Main, the exterior doors as depicted, as well as approval of the transom windows to be added from last time's discussions.
Second.
Okay, we have
Thank you
a,
guys so much.
motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, guys.
Jenkins. Okay, do we want to revisit C or D now? C?
500 West Main is here. No, 410 West Main is here.
Okay, all right. So we will receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a request to add solar panels to the roof of the building located at 410 West Main.
So they've included the drawings in their packet, and they've stated that they will not be visible from the front of the building. And the owner's representative, the contractor, is here, and so I would propose that they come up at this time.
Okay, I'm Justin Jennings. I'm from Sherman, Texas, at 1419 Till Lane. I'm here on behalf of 14 Collective. We have what you see, I believe you have the same packet. I went there this morning just to make sure on measurements and everything. I did take some pictures if you'd like to see them with a measuring tape next to it. May I approach?
Put it right over here.
So we have about 14 and a half, 15-inch parapet wall. And then the panel and racking system does match the system next to it, which is over at the which I did the resolution for each of them.
Okay.
So the racking system will not go past the parapet wall. It will also be set back roughly 5 to 6 foot based on fire restrictions. So it will clear the building. And I did take a picture from across the street. I know the picture in the packet does reflect saying that it's,
Don't you hate when that happens?
I know it's not fun. I did take a picture further away, as far as I can get across the street, just so we could visually see the parking lot in the picture. And you will not be able to see any kind of racking system or array system or any kind of electrical lines coming across the building.
They probably won't even be as tall as the bit.
The wall, the parapet, yeah.
The parapet wall sits about 14 to 15 inches in the front. On the sides of the building, it does exceed that. It goes up to 30 to 48 inches. The actual system over at the Monsters on Main is actually higher than theirs will be because they do have the second birdhouse that comes up. But besides that, I'll get the address changed. I guess the person submitted the permit put 412 versus 410, so I will get that fixed. And then I will get that resubmitted. Any questions?
Just want to know how much you saved.
Yeah.
Trying to be the first one downtown. I did residential downtown. I'm trying to be the first one for solar commercial as well.
Awesome. And I move to approve the addition of solar panels to the roof of the building located at 410 West Main.
Second. I have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Linda Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Any
carries.
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, gentlemen.
Okay, D, hold a report, receive a report, hold a discussion and take action on a request to install window film at 500 West Main.
Okay, we have show and tell.
Yay!
So you notice that I left a little kind of grating window film tent handout there. And so they just proposed it for this side, and they are proposing this film, which is a 15. And so that's the darkest or next to the darkest. They mentioned a couple of places that the contractor had put this film, and it's on the chamber and the DDA office, and you can't see through those windows. And so our new design guidelines have clear window film, and so we had previously approved a couple of businesses to have this. I want to show you. I don't know how to do this. These are two other tents. So this one is 50, which is the lightest, and this one's 35, which is the next. So this is not even clear, but this is what we had approved before.
The 35 or the 50?
50. So apparently, the higher you go, the more clear,
More like.
transparent it is.
So they're
Our
requesting-
design guidelines specifically state clear, and so we could do percentages, but I don't think that's necessary. I think just a clear tint, but I will rely on you.
So just to make sure I understand, what they're asking for is 15, which is way to the left. We have approved in the past, prior to the guidance, 50, which is kind of in the middle between 45 and 55. And the 35, has that been approved?
No, I think a 65, which is even less. And I tried to reach the contractor on this twice and couldn't. And so I couldn't get other research other than what I could find online. And I found that picture. I saw 2 or 3 pictures like that. And from memory, a different contractor has explained it to me before that gave me these samples, and that's what he indicated. So that's the extent of my knowledge, other than National Park Service says clear, and that's what our consultant said. That's what's in our new design guidelines that haven't been approved, and so I feel like we should go with that.
Clear is subjective. Nothing you've held up is clear.
Right.
And in order to get to clear, you move over to the extreme right. So in essence, we're not talking about clear once you move really to the left of 70. So, there is some ambiguity there that is not clear, and that clear, if you will. And I don't know until we know what clear is.
Well,
that
for
we're
the
ready to
purpose,
proceed.
for the purpose of what they're trying to do and what others have been trying to do, they're trying to protect their merchandise and have energy savings.
Exactly.
I don't know how much energy savings this versus this would be, but, if the applicant is on vacation now, and again, I wasn't able to get the contractor by phone, and so I know that,
I know, I mean, that's, it can't be clear
Yes.
and cut out light.
Right,
Those
so-
are, those are not the same.
Right, so to Lin-
do y'all
Linda's-
have any additional knowledge on the subject?
So to Linda's point, clear being 75, 80, and I don't understand why, again, somebody would put like clear up that would be, look just like glass, if the purpose is to protect what's on the inside of your building.
Well, as I've understood it before, and this was my other, previous job, there is a clear tint, but it's subjective.
Having just done this in our house, you can put a film on there that has a low emissivity
That's true.
rating.
Right.
And so our new design guidelines talk about having a clear, low E coating may be applied, and it talks about window film, installing clear, low emissivity, low E glass or film without noticeable color in historically clear windows to reduce energy consumption, or it's blacked out, so I'm not sure what the word is. So now we're coming back to this thing is what is clear.
It's clear.
And when I went down and looked at 421, it wasn't clear. Okay, it wasn't like that piece of glass, but it was, having just put that in, more clear than what I have in my house. So I would have thought it would have been somewhere between. And I noticed the 70, part of it is shaded and part of it is not.
And Donna, did you say what has previously been approved is 50, or that's what's being sought? What did
No,
we approve on?
15 is being sought.
And that's what you can't see.
Okay,
but
but
it's
so
in the
we
other-
have approved
Yes.
50.
The 50 to 65 is what I think, I mean, that's what they came to us
That
for.
right there.
This is 50.
And is there the ratings underneath it there that I can't read?
I would assume for each of the components of what it's supposed to do, right? Well, I feel very comfortable saying that at no time when I'm sitting here, are we gonna go to the left of 50. And I suppose then what remains is what we mean subjectively and literally when we say clear. And I understand that merchandise has to be protected.
Right.
But I feel very strongly about how we define clear, and I think that needs to be very specific.
I think clear where you can see through, but it's not crystal clear. Where it's like glass, like that.
And some glass comes with it already built in.
Yeah.
Well, our new design guidelines address that as well. It's got to be a clear, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I notice this is automobile. Is there an industry standard rating?
I didn't find one, but I just did a quick search. So,
I guess it's easy on the one hand, because we could say no on this, but in a wanting to work with them.
well,
What would it take to get to yes?
yes, and I apologize for interrupting. I know that they've wanted to come for, I don't know, maybe close to a month, and so them, now's the time for our meeting, and she was on vacation. We're only going to have one meeting in August, which is on the 15th. I'm not opposed to giving her a limit and approving that. If she still wants to do this, she's gonna, need to come to the meeting. But that's up to you.
Let me repeat what I think I heard you say. Because of our meeting schedule and her vacation schedule, to try to work with her and say no on the 15, but should you like to use one of the examples here, the 50,
which is now setting the standard.
Here,
That would be
that's right.
okay.
I think so. I wrote the motion to be a transparent, so,
Yes,
you know, I don't know that across the board I'm really okay with 50 even, but that's just a personal,
If we
Can you hold it up
do
if-
50, and I'm with my colleagues here on this, and they're past 50, that's probably never going to happen.
It's
But-
not gonna happen.
But I also, when we work with the
The owner?
tenants and as much as we can, well, we need to maybe revisit our design.
sorry, I would have
guidelines.
brought it to you.
To specify.
Yeah, is that something we should change our design guidelines on?
Is that any better for you?
Well, it does, it is,
You can see it.
I mean, you,
That's 35.
Mm-mm.
No Wookie.
That's 50.
yeah,
You know, if it's on the outside, if you're standing on the street and you're looking in, sometimes that has a higher, it's harder to see in.
So,
And the idea is to be able to see the
well, and
merchandise.
we can't use these because these are automobile ones. So
Right.
this is
It
just
just gives you
a
a reference.
A sort of a
yeah,
Right.
resource.
but we're seeing a 50 there, and that's about as dark as I feel comfortable.
Right.
But I
And
would feel
whatever
comfortable-
translates to that.
But I would feel comfortable for everybody that, but I guess my question is now, do we need to look at our design guidelines to include that?
Yeah, our design guidelines say clear, and so if you are going to, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question, because I know when we redid the fronts of our buildings, we had the old school glass, and so we had to go back with what was required, which is the low E. And do y'all know, because I don't know, but I know that I can see a difference in it. I know even when they brought it, it looked darker than just, you know, the old school glass. So do y'all know what the rating is on those particular ones that are required to be passed?
So
Okay.
the energy rating on those, the minimum is 0.35 solar heat gain and a 0.25 coefficient. So that's the minimum code requirements in the
Okay.
energy code that we're under. So anything lower than that's great, anything higher is not. So
Okay.
the lower you go, the window might be a little darker, but you're not going to tell as much.
Okay,
But that's energy efficiency rating.
it's the, yeah, okay.
Not tint color.
Because I know in the old that we had, everything faded. I mean, my black turned a weird color green if I had something in there, but with my new windows, nothing fades.
So are you
Some of the
saying
new
that,
windows don't, or some of the older windows don't have that, so in order to get that, they'll put a tint on it.
Right.
Right.
Right, rather than replace the windows and then do the tint, so.
are you saying the low E is the
Well, I'm trying to figure out
difference
what
in
that-
your,
I'm trying to figure out what it translates to, like what low E, and taking low E currently with the new windows and putting a window tint, what that would be. Would that be 70? Would that be 50? Would that, you know?
How
Where would
about if
that
we were to
be?
say a low E window with a color tint, no less than 50? Or whatever the industry standards for building.
What
Right,
tint
they-
did you just
If they
say?
use colors, they can, I mean, that's up to y'all on the color factor of that. We only really look at the energy rating.
Yeah.
So you had 50
Oh, in my
put
house?
on your house?
No, I'm
Would you-
higher.
You had higher than 50, okay. You're fired.
It was so our wood floors wouldn't fade.
But it's still gonna be a clear tint with a
But not
shade
that much
no
higher,
darker
not that
than
much
50.
higher. Yeah,
I
well,
think,
higher-
I think
higher,
that would be a
clear.
good way to state it.
We're clear.
Yes.
That's clear.
Clear.
Sorry. Never mind, scratch that from the record.
You know, I think one word we rephrase that is a clear tint with a shade no darker than 50.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because you can have the bronzes and all that, those are out, but, something like that.
And assuming whatever the concomitant number is, that's not an automobile tint number.
Yeah.
Because we don't know for sure that those numbers apply.
Yeah, because the standard legal auto tint is 32%, for your automobile.
I'm sure Mr. Roslin would know and could help us out for that. So for the purpose of Main Street Mall, I would say if we were to do it as you have worded this, approve the addition of a transparent window film no lower than
No darker
50?
than,
No
sorry?
no darker.
Yeah,
No
the
darker.
only reason I didn't go lower because.
Yeah, I like it, I like the
Yeah,
answer.
what I
No
just, I
darker.
just made that mistake. by
It's
covering it up.
confusing.
Yeah. No darker than your 50 example, and then we need to talk with, so that's the motion. Then we need to talk with Rosalind to define what that is to put in our design guidelines.
Well, I did speak with Rosin on this, and they said clear. And then I tried to define it more to get more details on it. And there's a contractor that has done some, and I think I could get some information from them, more the expert, because he's already, explained this to me. It was just,
Oh, so if you were to go back to him and say, no darker than that exemplar,
Yeah, but I understand clear is that some of them are bronze tint, some of them are gold tint, and some of them are clear, but they're still shaded. So it's sometimes, I think we're getting more built in than is really there.
With the definition of
The way you
clearness.
worded that's perfect, I think.
sure, just read it back to me.
Well, what I have is staff recommends approval of took out more, of a transparent window film no darker than 50%.
Then the 50% exemplar,
Yeah, because that's the only.
because we're not sure what
Everybody's
that,
sure what that
everybody's 50 is the same.
yeah, exactly. Does that work, Donna?
Yes.
So that would be my motion.
And if that doesn't appeal to them, then come back and just revisit this, but.
But we're clearly denying what they want.
Well, we're not denying it, we're
We're
just
giving
saying
them
that.
a reasonable alternative.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Was there a second?
Not yet.
Second?
Okay, so we have a motion by Kurt Chakowski and a second by Steve Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
So hopefully she can work with that.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
think that we
oh.
probably do need to nail down something that's a bit more specific.
I would feel more comfortable with that because, we may forget.
Well, and, if we had pieces of it, literal pieces, that they could look at and hold it up to a window and say, this is as light as we're gonna let you have it.
Right. Well, I think their contractor will know. They're in the business of,
Well, exactly, one
yeah.
assumes that contractors know things.
right.
She
Right.
said with a smile on her face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
So you're saying that Chamber of Commerce has 15, or who did you say had 15?
And
DDA and the chamber.
Yeah, and you said you can't see through that.
Right,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
But they didn't come through us for approval either.
Well, the good thing about the window
Shame.
that they're wanting to put it on is it is at least the east. I mean, it's the morning.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
not the west like they're
Right.
getting over there. So, it makes a difference.
and, awnings are another option.
That's true.
So we've got a whole section in that in our design guidelines.
Yes.
Thank you, Donna. All right, we are at staff updates.
Okay. So on 410 West Main, I had approved in the office some white vinyl signage. And so do we have a picture of that? It's just, the usual has moved in there, and so they've got some advertising on the exterior. And then do we have the other, the 428 West Main? Okay, you can go ahead and pull that up. They want to do a sign there, and so we didn't see it for this agenda, but I would like to go ahead and approve it in the office. Do you have the picture? So it's lookalikes, and it's got vinyl on a panel, and that's what it would look like on the building. So there's no opposition. I will take care of that.
Size is not an issue at all.
It looks like it's well within the guidelines. Is there anything else? Okay. So the only other thing I have is the design guidelines. I would have liked to have done this months ago, but only with Mr. Chakowski's help was I able to get the design guidelines reviewed. And so I made notes on it so you could read those. If you see a color, that means that it has been added. There is still a lot of information here, like on signs, that is in color. That doesn't mean that that was the only thing added, like we had previously added. And so I really feel good about this, giving you some guidance, clear, like when we get the cleared, yeah, yeah, when we get that clarified, and this is the perfect time, we just add that in there, we will be ready to proceed with this. So I would like for you to think of the hardest cases that you've had to deal with recently and see if it's in here, see if guidance is in here to take us through this. And one thing that comes to mind is kick plates, which, you know, about this high, glass or, you know, some other substance with glass above that. I think that's what you said you prefer. It's certainly what I prefer. And so I think it needs to be specified. And I read through it and I absorbed it, but there's a lot of information in there. And so I would like for you to see if you think it addresses it adequately. I really would like for us to be able to just refer to this and know what the answer is going to be, because
I'm sure when we have it finalized, published, so that
right.
anyone coming now has it.
Right, and that's the hope. So there may be some other things in here. The reason I wanted my notes on here, I wanted it to be visible that it's not a final document, because I've had to. There's been a lot of edits. You know, it all started, Ms. Anderson, with your recommendation and what we would cover. And so I think we've covered that, but there's a lot of notes that I have to go back and make sure that we did. And then also a lot of edits that maybe were made but didn't get to the final digital document. And so fortunately, we had a paper copy of that we were able to make sure it was all in. So I just am giving you this so you will be able to read it and let me know. I don't know that we'll have another meeting before it goes to council because we don't meet until August 15th. But certainly we want to cover what you would like. And I will plan to do the same with the historic preservation ordinance. The next step is the two documents go to the attorney to make sure that they're good, and then we'll take them to council. And I know the council's anxious to get them, as I am anxious to have them done. It's just been difficult to find time to read them. And, you know, we've had a committee that's been of other staff, so I want them to make sure that these aren't in conflict and include what you know, we talked about in the meetings. And so really appreciate your help in getting to this point, because it was hard enough with you having already gone through it and maximized
I
it.
just know that there's clear window film in several spots of this thing.
I'm very appreciative of the
Yes.
time, energy, literacy,
Yes.
effort that you put into it. Thank you.
He did a lot of research too.
You're leading historical building signs then.
No, I'm a good follower. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Donna, perhaps it would be a good idea if each of us, Mr. Kukowski doesn't, he knows every single word, but the rest of us make a commitment to read all the way through it,
Yes.
and if we have markups, bring them to you personally. Should we do that?
Yes,
I
and
would
those,
do that.
they're welcome, because I want to clarify it.
know.
I don't want to spend time up here, debating. I want it to be this and not based on any case.
I will commit to do that, and I will do it with a different color pen.
Okay. And I will be going on vacation after next Friday, so if you could do it before then, not this Friday, next Friday, that would be very helpful, because I want to have it off to,
Got it?
thank you.
Thank you, Donna, thanks for sharing.
Is there a Cliff Notes version to read?
There's several blank pages in there, so.
Just need mine now.
All right. Okay, I guess we will need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, all right. All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye, okay. This meeting is adjourned at 1:05 PM.